It's my great pleasure now to introduce Senator Tammy Duckworth. Welcome, Senator, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, it's good to be here, Dr. Limay. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me to speak, albeit virtually, and I look forward to being in person myself as well. As some of you may know, and it's been mentioned, I am an American, but my Thai heritage makes me a living example between the bond between our two nations. And after all, our nations have a long, long history of friendship. And for centuries now, our countries have learned from and leaned on each other militarily, diplomatically, economically, culturally. From law enforcement to education, national security to our respective economies, we've helped one another grow and evolve, adapting to a world that is increasingly more connected, adapting to an era in which technology allows allies half a world away to be there for each other in half an instant, which is why I include legislation in last year's NDAA that included cybersecurity cooperation between Thailand and the United States. You know, there's a reason that Thailand is often called Washington's oldest ally in Asia. Ever since an American ship landed there more than 200 years ago, ever since His Majesty King Mongkut offered to send elephants to President Abraham Lincoln from my home state of Illinois, an ocean away, ever since we agreed to help strengthen one another's economies with the Treaty of Amity and Commerce and help bolster each other's defenses with the Manila Pact, our two nations have proven that there's no greater asset than a partner you can count on in both times of peace and conflict. Recently, Thailand has let America refuel our aircraft at Utapao during the thick of the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. Some of Thailand's military officers trained in the United States, including in my own aviation branch home base of Fort Rucker, Alabama. Every year, our two militaries join together to take part in Cobra Gold, the largest multilateral exercise in the region. And time after time, Thailand and the United States work side by side to catch the bad guys running international criminal networks, to give humanitarian relief to those who need it, to keep the peace far beyond our own borders, and to help curb health crises by sharing vaccines, well aware that pandemics don't recognize nations' borders, and if a public health emergency exists in one region, no other region is safe. And I know our recent announcement is that we'll be sending no less than 1.5 billion doses of the COVID vaccine. In fact, the goal is 2.5 million, but the first shipment will be 1.5. Now, with more and more geopolitical threats rising by the day, the strength of our bond is as important as ever. You know, here on this webinar, as well as I do, that Thailand sits right in the middle of some of the gravest security challenges of our time. Our alliance provides some sense of stability amidst that chaos, some sense of security amidst the unpredictability. From the economy to cyber warfare to maritime security, the United States counts on Thailand to be our partner, working together to ensure the region's safety and prosperity, to ensure that all of the countries in the region are free to trade and travel the high seas, to ensure that all parties adhere to the international rule of law. And as the United States said at the last Shangri-La dialogue that actually happened, and I was there a couple of years ago, and I quote, "Perhaps the greatest long-term threat to the interests of states across this region comes from actors who seek to undermine rather than uphold the rules-based order, trying to exploit others economically and diplomatically and coerce them militarily. These actors destabilize the region towards their own exclusive advantage, and America will not support that. We must stay vigilant against such threats, refusing to ignore any erosion of rights, because we've seen what happens when we close our eyes to the wrongs before us. When our commitment to international rule is anything but resolute, economies around the world falter. When norms and principles are breached, alliances fissure. Prosperity and security are threatened, instability reigns. And there's no easy fix, no simple way to backtrack. That's just one reason why I'm so grateful for the ongoing bond between the United States and Thailand. And it's just one reason why I'm so thankful to call you all my partners in this work, striving to keep not only our countries, but the world at large more peaceful and more prosperous for every family, from Bangkok to Chicago, Bogota to Cairo. Thank you so much, Khop Khun Mak Naka, and have a wonderful webinar. Thank you. Sawasdee ka.